All right. So staying with the raw pu'ers, this is a 2013 mini tea brick, and I I purchased way too much. So I was just looking it up. It's 10 mini bricks, and they are about 5 grams a piece. Okay, come in little nice wrappers, and so I only meant to get a sample size. So not knowing exactly how much each one of these were, I put way too much material in this cold brew. But I have to say, one thing that I'm excited about is you see that color there? It has not infused all the way up here. And I think this is very characteristic of the aged puer that I am actually looking for. So I'm going to shake this up real good. And the other thing I want to say just real quick is that I assumed that all of these teas were going to be about the same. And I was pleasantly surprised when I saw that this one brewed up really just completely differently than the last one. So really excited to see what I get out of this. Right away, I see there is a lot of material in this thing. Really pretty color, but you know, it's pressed like this, right? Spring material, really kind of a glossy finish on it, but without doing any sort of agitation, just keeping it sitting in the water for 24 hours in the fridge. All of the cakes all came apart. So I'm a little worried that it's overbrewed, but I'll take that into consideration when I taste this thing. We're talking about almost 50 grams of material here. So if nothing else, this is definitely going to get infused more than a few times. But yeah, so the other thing that I want to discuss too was that the it escapes me now. Anyway, so right away, not a lot of aroma coming off this thing. There's a little bit. I would call it you know, typical puer green aroma. Let's go ahead and pour this up. And even though, like I said, there's a lot of material in here, I think there's still a lot of small, um, you know, crumbs and cut up pieces, even for the amount of material that's in here. Still quite a bit. Get the water. All right. So let's see what we get. So again, really dark color, but again, I think that has a lot to do with the fact there's so much material in there. But there is a lot of little small pieces floating around. So, you know, the site says that it was stored as a malchaw and then it was pressed. And so my thoughts on this is that, you know, the malchaw is loose tea, right? And so if it was loose in a bag, it's probably getting moved around, and so getting, you know, a lot of leaves are being broken, and then they took all those broken pieces and pressed them into these small little squares here. And so probably not the best quality material. See what we get though. Right away, this is not what I like. This is sour, very sour. Um, no bitterness. Um, just very sour. No No sweetness that I can speak to, really. A bit of a sort of a bitter aftertaste, a little bit. It's just not my favorite puer. This is definitely a category of puers that, I guess some people like. I'm not a fan of. It's just a sour mash. And again, I'm sure some of that has to do with the fact that there's just way too much material um, in this water. But even still, this thing definitely has that characteristic of sort of a sour, not quite citrus, because I've tasted citrus puers too, and those are more like sweet and sour. This one is more of just sour. And anytime I taste a tea like this, it makes me think that maybe it's somehow like spoiled or something. I don't think that's the case, but yeah. So again, you know, to my surprise, all of these teas, even though they're supposedly from the same area, are not going to be um, anywhere near the same. Oh, that's what I want to discuss. So the tea that I had from Dehong before, it was definitely better brewed at lower temperatures. But I think I made that mistake with the last tea, thinking that it was going to definitely be the same. And so with this one, I'm going to go back to my typical sampling routine of starting off with really hot water and then kind of working down from there. So there's a little bit of smell on the wet leaf, but not much. And as you can see, it's still, I didn't wash it very much. But based on what I see from the cold brew, these cakes are gonna break up pretty easy. So I may actually infuse it twice using really hot water, just in case there's like a huge difference between the steepings. Just because I think there's going to be a difference between really compact, tight cakes versus kind of cakes being broken up, right? So I'm going to agitate it just a little bit. I think that's about I don't know, what is that, like 10, 15 seconds? Let's see. And yeah, they're starting to loosen up a bit, but still pretty tight. Um, not just not getting a lot on the nose, and I think that's typical of these Dehongs. I mean, it smells like something, but can you begin to? I mean, the aroma is so light. It's maybe I saw the word mushroom used in the description of the tea on the site, so I'm just gonna go with that. Definitely, I've definitely been influenced for sure, but honestly, I can't. I mean, a mushroom is a very lightly fragranced. At least some of them are, right? Lightly fragranced food that I can compare it to. So anyway, so this was straight off of the compressed cake, fresh out the wrapper, and you see the material at the bottom of the cup there. So quite a bit of activity as well. Um, you know, uh, yeah, and you got little floaties in there too. Probably can't see those. Yeah, you can see them, little floaties. I don't particularly like. So at this point, I'm going to say that the material is just not the best. All right. Hmm. Okay. So a very light brew. To be expected, I guess, being that, like I said, the cakes are not broken up much at all. One of them has come completely apart. The other one is um, still sort of, and this is supposed to be almost 10 grams of tea, give or take, I guess. So I'm going to hit this again with really hot water, and I'm going to steep it for much longer here. And I'm actually going to use a timer. Let's see what we get. So I'm going to do maybe 30 seconds. And let's see what we get. So you can see it's coming apart now. You can kind of see the shake at the bottom. All right, and that is 30 seconds. Let's see what we get here. It's not a good idea for me to mention this on this video because I know I'm going to miss it later. But I do have to say that that last tea was really good. I really enjoyed drinking through it. Just like the Dehong I had before, I was just blowing through infusions. I mean, it was excellent. And the cold brew went 3 times. I didn't come back and say anything because I have a feeling that that's going to be the case with all these Dehongs. But we'll see. We'll see. So second infusion, 30 seconds. Not, I mean, a little darker, I guess, but not much darker than that pretty fast infusion. Again, lots of activity, material, got little flakes floating around. I was told before that the little flakes floating around may be carbon coming off the leaf as a result of roasting. But this tea doesn't seem to be roasted, and there's no like smoky flavor either. So personally, I don't like the little floaties. They're not, I don't like them. You know, it's just stuff like when you're at the restaurant and the waiter brings you a glass of water and there's little black specks floating in the water. I mean, if I'm paying for the meal, I send it back. You know what I mean? Even, you know, even at home, like if I notice there's little specks of something floating in my drink, I usually get rid of it, you know, and pour in the glass. With tea though, I'm not so quick to do that because, you know, it might just be broken leaves or something. But typically leaves fall at the bottom, like you see these, and the little floaties. You know, I don't know. Let's try it. See what we get. Nope. Has nothing to do with so much material. Okay. This again is a sour mash of tea. And I'm going to reach out to the tea community and get their thoughts on it. I don't know that I've ever tasted a spoiled tea, but I do know it is possible. You know, if you wet pile the leaves, they can definitely grow mold and stuff. I mean, just I'm sure leaves can spoil. I'm sure of it. If you cook out, you know, most of the moisture, that's not supposed to happen. But I have a feeling that, you know, it can still happen. Also, I want to say that Yunnan sourcing is giving away, at least they were, they had a spend spend $190 or more and get 250 grams free. So again, this is 10 mini bricks, supposedly 5 grams a piece. So this is 50 grams. And they're willing to give you 5 of these for free if you spend $200. I have a feeling that's the case because they're just trying to get rid of it. You know what I mean? This is not I just don't like it. You know, I'm sure there's people out there that like sour teas, or maybe there's another word that can be used to describe this, you know, sour type of, of tea. Um, I call it sour, you know. And the thing that really gets me is that if I were to take this cold brew out with me and it was a warm day, that sour mash is going to turn into something very, very unpleasant. I've had that happen to me a few times sampling through some of this stuff. And I've also tasted some teas that were pleasantly sour, like, you know, more like citrus, you know. Um, so I got the water to 127. I'm gonna warm it up just a bit more. See if I can get it to 130. It's amazing how warm 130 still is. Where are we at? 132. And it's still hot to the touch. And as you can see, again, still sort of, yeah, it's starting to come apart. So that was really hot water. This one is really, so I noticed that too when I was opening these up last night. Some of the cakes are more tightly compressed than others. And obviously I have one in here that's not as tight, and then another one that is really tight. So it's just not coming apart at all. All right, so really hot water at 30 seconds. This is cooler water. And I'm going to do it for 30 seconds because the thing is I do want the flavor. I just want to see if something is going to change about the flavor at cooler temperatures. Let's see. Almost. All right, good deal. 30 seconds. Let's pour this off. All right. And that one cake is still not coming completely apart. I mean, it is really, really tight. And this is like the third infusion plus the wash. And I can't even break it up with my finger. I mean, it's really compressed tight. I mean, you can't see it, but you can see the other one. The other cake has come completely apart. So, yeah, and you know, again, I've definitely been influenced by the website, but mushroom, I think, is a really good descriptor for the aroma of this tea. So the color is a bit lighter, cooler temps, a bit more water too, just because the tea is starting to break up, and so I want to make sure to cover it. Lots of activity. It's there's also I don't think you're going to be able to see this, but it's sort of a film. There you go, a film that's covering the top of this thing. Okay, so yeah, cooler temperatures, 30 seconds. I'm actually into this tea. The cold brew is just, that was an experiment gone wrong. maybe I can like dilute it or something. But yeah, so 10 grams, 30 seconds, 130-degree Fahrenheit water is an interesting tea. I actually taste the wild purple tea varietal now. There is still some of that sourness in the background, but it's in the background. Breathing and drinking. So two don't go together well. My goodness, that's the first time that's happened on one of these videos. Yeah, I'm really excited. And I was trying to talk as I was trying to swallow. But yeah, but it's really good though. 30 seconds, 130 degree Fahrenheit. It's a weak brew. It's not very strong, which I think is a characteristic of a lot of these Dehongs. You know, I'll be able to really say that with confidence after going through a couple more, but not a very strong tea. It is aged, of course, so a lot of the bitterness, if there was any, is gone. This one is spring material. I'm just not a fan of the material. I mean, there's a lot going on in there. This is a dirty tea. Because of that, I'm not like super excited about drinking through this, honestly. But I'm glad I found, like, you know, a good spot for it. It's not a horrible tea. Again, it's subtle, Dehong. I'm gonna call it a green tea, but of course, it's categorized as pu'er. But it gives me some of that like green tea freshness, you know. Not very dark flavors at all. There is definitely an aftertaste. They're like that sour note, sort of an aftertaste, and the thing is, what I'm trying to figure out. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna hit this again. I'm not gonna time it this time. I feel like this tea and I are on a first name basis now, so I don't need to time it. But I have a feeling though that you can definitely overbrew this, and so I'm not gonna hold it for too long. But yeah, what I want to figure out is if I never overbrewed this in the first place, you know, like if I brewed this perfectly the first time, will I have even noticed any sort of sour note at all? And I'm almost to the point where I'm thinking, I don't think I will have. I think if I had brewed this perfectly from the beginning, I don't know that I would have really tasted that sour note, even in the aftertaste. Let's see. Yeah, definitely mushroom. Like, no question. It's literally the only thing that I can smell right now. It's mushroom. I'm looking at the leaves, and they're definitely You can see this is a picking. It's a bud and one leaf kind of hanging on there. It's a small leaf too. So this was probably early spring. I'm trying to, I don't see really any like big leaves in here. It's another one, fairly small. So yeah, probably early spring, which is where that that very subtle light freshness comes in at. But look at all that at the bottom. That is, it's not cool. And again, lots of floaty things at the top. Sort of a film or something over it. We're trying really hard to forget what the first infusions tasted like. Yeah, no, the sour note is definitely there, but it's very much in the background. It's a decent tea if it weren't so dirty. That's just the truth. It's a decent tea if it weren't so dirty. And you definitely need to brew this with cooler temperatures. Hot water is just gonna amp that sourness up to 1,000, and then it's just not enjoyable for me. So anyway, that's it. Till next time.